Dominican people, thank you very much. Those of you in Dominica, this blessed rock I always call it. Those Dominicans as well who live in the region. We have people living all across the length and breadth of this region. Or those further afield, blessed evening and welcome. Those of you who are not from Dominica, but you are a constant follower of this program, I want to welcome you as well in a very special way. And basically, you guys come from all over. Yes, so wherever you are at this time, a blessed good evening and thank you very, very much. Tonight in Dominica, it is the 21st night of September 2024, and so that is where we are just about to start another very interesting live Saturday night engagement with yours truly, Lofty Durant. All of you, and I mean all of you, who normally meet me and say, Lofty, thank you very much. We are listening, we are locked in, we are taking in information. I want to say a special greetings to you guys as well, because it is people like you who keep me going, people like you who gives me that sort of adrenaline, the catalyst as it were that I need to keep me going. Yes, and so I just want to thank each and every one of you each and every time. Today in Dominica, in terms of weather, it was sort of a hot day today. The past days have been hot. We are in the hurricane season still, folks. So please be very, very careful. Be on guard, as it were, because we know how it is when this kind of situation in terms of the weather comes around in Dominica. But for the past days, we have been blessed with some good weather. And so we just want to thank the good Lord above for, his blessings on us in that department indeed. Folks, where are we going this evening with tonight's program? First and foremost, let me just say straight off the bat, I was in absentia, as it were, being absent for the past three Saturdays, 3 or 2. Time flies so quickly. But the 2 previous Saturdays, I was, engaged with this young lady, and so when we finished the engagement with her, when I finished the engagement with her, it was much too late to, get reignited as it were to be with you guys. So I just let it pass by. But having missed 2 or 3 Saturdays, then the information has been piling up. And so this evening I said I cannot not be there with you guys for yet another Saturday. And so we are here this evening. Thank you very, very much indeed. As I was saying before, where are we going with tonight's conversation, people? And just before I go there in terms of where we're going, let me just alert everyone who is on that feed at this time. The information that yours truly bring here each and every time, it is very, very factual information to the best of your ability in terms of the fact finding and trying to clarify the things as it pertains to the facts before I bring them to you. And so that is not a program. A matter of fact, that is not a show. We are not in no show business here. We are in a program dedicated to the betterment of our country. And so that is why each and every Saturday when yours truly come here, then I try my very best to research and do the necessary fact finding before I punch it at you guys, so that whatever you get from here, as I normally say, you can take it to the bank, and basically the bank will bestow on you cash in return. All right, that is how foolproof the information that comes from here. Thank you. In terms of just putting that out there again, we in Dominica, we have to set the agenda. We cannot let the pulling down in the gutter. We cannot let the dis and misinformation take root so much in our country that will be bamboozled, as it were, as a people. All right, we have to keep to a standard, and the standard is bringing truth to power, no matter who feels slighted in the process, who get hurt, and who get sort of appraised in the process. It doesn't matter. Wherever the chips fall, let it be. All right, Dominicans, first off the bat, we are going to deal with a matter, or some matters, as it relates to the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force. That is up on the agenda, right up. Secondly, we are going to deal with the properties that the man who sits in the chair as Prime Minister of of the Commonwealth of Dominica, Roosevelt Skerrit, presently residing at Mont Daniel. We're going to look at a situation there that has been unfolding for some time. And some of you Dominicans may not have been taking note. But as I said, it is the facts, the unadulterated facts that I bring to you. And yes, in that segment, we'll be bringing you some factual information as to the development of Leeds there. We'll be showing you some pics as well. You know, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words or more. So please stay tuned indeed. I'll be bringing you as well the situation that I'm hearing. A snap election in Dominica. Again, if you know yours truly very well, I don't just take words for it. I normally do what I do in terms of trying to find out the facts. And so in this episode, on the third segment of this program, you will find out what is it, if there's any truth to the talk, what has been making the rounds for some time about a snap election in December. Yeah? And finally, we will be giving you an update as to where we go tomorrow on the Civic Vibes program that will be aired from 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. So you can see how sort of packed, how condensed tonight's program is. So if you have to drink a water, if you have to use the bathroom, if you have to settle something, settle your child, children, whatever it is you have to do at this time, you better do that now. All right? Whilst I still on the fringes of the information to come, so that when we set sail, as it were, then we will not be looking back until about the 8 o'clock hour tonight. All right? So whatever you have to do, Dominicans, make yourself very comfortable at this time, because as I said, when we set sail, we will be trying to do justice to the information tonight. Yeah? Yeah, just on the fringes before we get into the meat of things, condolence messages going out to all who are bereaved at this time by the passing of your loved ones. That is never an easy time, so our hearts and prayers are with you. Of late, we have been hearing a number of deaths in Dominica, deaths that are sort of, you know, shocking, but that's the reality of life. So those of you who are there at this time, in that mood, in that very sorrowful mode, I must say, all of us on the live feed at this time, I want to think, we would want to empathize and sympathize with you at this time. On the more joyful part of life, those of you who are celebrating, whatever you're celebrating, the birth of a young one, school is back on the horizon, some persons may be celebrating that, especially young people, whatever it is, job accomplishment, something that you have been longing for, and it seems to be poking its head on the horizon, we celebrate with you as well. Yeah? So whatever it is that warms your heart at this time, we too want to celebrate with you. All right? Okay, Dominicans, I think you took that much needed breather, as it were, to get yourself set. So it is about what? It is about 17 minutes past the hour 6. So I think that is where we should, you know, start to take flight, as it were. All right. The Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force. Let me qualify what I'm going to say first by telling us that there are a number of good, yes, good policemen and women in the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force. They carry out their duty in a certain style, in a certain fashion, as it relates to the protection of we the citizens. And so all of you guys who are in the force at this time, those of you who know that you're true to that mantra, to serve and protect, I want to applaud you very highly at this time, because that is what you signed up for. Again, I want to applaud you. But those of you who are in the police force and you're not doing justice to your mandate or to what you're called to do, what you signed up for, equally, I want to chastise you guys at this time. Because in the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, we are hearing, well, I am hearing, some of you choose not to hear, but I am hearing. And once I verify them as facts, as I tell you, you can count on me to bring it to you in terms of what I'm hearing. The Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force is a body that good supposed to come out of them, especially as it pertains to the benefit of we the citizens by and large. And let me narrow it down now to the Immigration Department. That is the department in the force that deals with our document, our sacred document, our passports. And so what I've been hearing of late in the immigration or from the Immigration Department, it is not becoming. Much more in terms of better or best should come from them. Those of you who are following things in Dominica, you would have heard about the demotion of some police officers in the Immigration Department, who work in the Immigration Department. And their demotion came as a result of these police officers decided to, at least for once, take a stance in terms of what, as I said, they signed up to do in the interest of Dominicans. And so you can well imagine when some police officers would have taken that stance, then the powers that be now, that they were working for all along, they were bosom bodies all along. Once that proper and positive stance is taken, then the powers that be, through some ministers, I'm being told, will no longer find favor with these police officers. And so, as a fact, I can tell you, in the past 2 years thereabout, 2 police officers, they were demoted. Their demotion came about as a result of they trying their best to do what is right. But when you have a very corrupt system, like what is governing Dominica now, expect nothing good from that regime. And so anything that anybody does that is good, they will try to suppress it or suppress them. And that is the harsh reality. And so these 2 police officers, there may be more, but I was apprised of 2 in detail. You know yourselves very well. You can tell that story much better than I am trying to do now. I understand you as a police officer / public servant / government worker, there is a sort of gag on your mouth, so you will not be able to speak like I am doing. But you have friends, and you tell your friends ever so often what goes on with you. And these friends have friends. And so sooner rather than later, whatever you cannot spell out in the public domain because of that so-called gag order, it reaches the public in terms of the facts what you guys are going through. Should I say I empathize with you guys? I will hold back my empathy for now. Because at the end of the day, you guys should have known what you got yourself involved with or in the first place. It was not right. And so, like everything in life, there are consequences to everyone's action or even inaction. And so some of what you have gone through and maybe still going through now, it is as a result of your action or activities to prop up something or some people that you jolly well knew that you were not supposed to dabble in or dabble with. And so there's a saying that goes, play with a pig and you will get muddy. And so when you guys choose to dabble in things that is not part of your mantra as a public officer, it goes against the grain, it goes against what you signed as per contract with the people of your country. Some of you, the consequences that you're suffering, I will say straight up, I sympathize not with you. Having said that, read the demotion of certain officers at the immigration department. Equally now, I am hearing the promotion of certain officers who are now falling in the place or in the ranks or in the stead and wanting to do the bidding that their colleagues walked away from. And so these so-called Johnny-come-latelys are now finding favor with the regime. And so as a result, they are promoted over people who have been there, working tirelessly in the system. These political mules, I call them, for want of a better term, they are promoted over the other hard-working men and women. And that goes across the board. I am specifically zeroing down now on the immigration department. But that, what I'm telling you, it goes across the board in the public service. Once you are not prepared to sing from that hymn sheet of the rogue regime that has of late just galvanized Dominicans into a straitjacket mentality, thinking mentality, you will suffer the consequences. And that's just how it is. And the bigger picture to that is that we are seeing, not slowly anymore. I am saying to Dominicans now, based on what I know that is happening, we are in a dictatorship system in Dominica. The full-blown dictatorship will come when people will start to disappear because of their non-compliance with the status quo. But we are in a dictatorship. Because if people cannot do what is right as per their job description, and they would have to suck up to the political directory to make any upward mobility, we know where we are. So we are not getting there anymore. We are right there. It's just that in any dictatorship, there are degrees or there are stages of that dictatorship. And so when your government, you chose by your finger or X or whatever it is, will put their political mules, I want to call them tonight, in strategic positions in the public service to ensure that their bidding is carried out, then you know we are right there. I need not say more. Because you, these people who work in these very prestigious positions, you know exactly what I am talking about. Gone are the days when you, as a public officer, working for and on behalf of the people of the Commonwealth, could call a spade, and you would be protected by the rules and regulations, the guidelines that go along with your job. Gone are those days. And so if you dare say nothing out of sync with the political master now, or the political masters, because there are a number of them, because the ministers are playing as if they are the Lord God Almighty of the public service. When the ministers who you chose to represent you supposed to be your servants, but for some, I was going to use a word there. Let me not try to belittle anyone's religion. So I'll use the word strange instead. For some strange reasons, then, as my brother said in this song, the math doesn't math up anymore. So your political servants have now turned the table around and become your political masters. And so it's on that note, in terms of the promotion of some of the police officers in the immigration department in Dominica, I am hearing a payment, or the promotion was for, at least in part, a payment for having a son of a minister, a sitting minister in government, get him out of the way as it relates to some illegal drugs that that boy had in his possession during a traffic check, a traffic patrol in Dominica. That officer basically came on the scene. She was right there. And yes, it's a she. And escorted that boy away so that the drugs would not be seen by the other officers, so charges not be laid. And so as a result of that and more, that officer now in question has moved up a notch. That officer has moved up a notch. I'm being told. And that's just the reality. So when you are dealing with a very corrupt force, that is some of the situations that we are encountering or being told of on a daily basis in Dominica. Excuse me, folks. One person is calling me out there. Let me just see who this is. No. I am on a live feed now. I cannot attend. I'll talk to you. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry about that, people. My apology. But I had to attend to this door because I suspect this brother would continue knocking and would sort of throw me off track. Yeah, so that is the scenario that I want to paint to you, with you, or to you, that goes on in our police department, where, you know, police officers get themselves engaged in condoning illegal activities, and before they are given a slap, then the political directorate comes in and pampers them. Who have eyes to hear, let them see. Who have ears to hear, let them hear. That's one case, people. And you think that one case is bad, but it gets worse. And that senior officer now, he knows himself very well. It is just that the political directorate seems to have him under the clutches, so he will not be exposed. And if you dare expose that person, God forbid, the political directorate will come down on you as seniors to that senior police officer. So I'm asking Mr. Valerie tonight, I'm asking Mr. what's his name, Corbett tonight. You guys are at the top echelon of the force. So Mr. Lincoln Corbett and Mr. Valerie, very direct question to you guys tonight. Are you guys in the know of any senior police officer who uses government vehicle, the vehicle assigned to you guys to do your work on behalf of the people? That officer on various times use that vehicle to help peddle drugs for known drug dealers in the Commonwealth of Dominica. That's just a question. And so Mr. Valerie, Mr. Corbett, if you guys did not know, now you know. And part of your job description, it is to do investigations. So you guys could start with one of your own and try to find out. Go in the archives. Try to dig up. Try to unearth. Try to resurrect. Who is that senior police officer, well-known police officer, at various points in times in the past, use government, when I say government, let me clarify, the people's vehicle that was given to you guys to do the people's business. Use that GA vehicle a number of times to move illegal drugs for some known drug dealers. And so obviously, having a GA vehicle going around, it will never be stopped by any police officer doing any traffic check or drug check or license check or whatever it is, because it is considered to be one and the same. So as I said, Mr. Valerie, Mr. Corbett, if you guys worth your salt as a police officer or policemen or people who are supposed to be serving and protecting, start your investigations and let the people know what exactly you guys have found out in that department, at least. Finally, there's this old tactic. There's this old tactic, this very old tactic that the powers that be, the architects in the rogue regime, have used and continue to use in terms of making the life of good. Remember I started, there are some good policemen and women in the force. So those who are good, there's this old tactic of making these people's lives a living hell whilst at work, whilst on duty, whilst being a bona fide policeman or woman. They send them in certain areas in Dominica to work that it is construed as a demotion. It is construed as taking them and just pushing them aside, so that whatever goes on in the main frame of things, they cannot and will not be part of it. Are you guys aware of that? And I'm now talking to the higher ups, not the just comes. Are you guys aware of that old tactic? That same old tactic was used by Stalin and others many years ago, where dictatorships reigned supreme, where Mr. Joseph Goebbels and others, that was the chief henchman, use that old tactic to intimidate, to vilify, to persecute people who they think that were not part of the regime. And so today it is happening in Dominica. It is just playing out. Same cards, same rules. That too, people, will come to an end one of these good days. Finally, on that point, where we are today, just to wrap up on that police segment, where we are today, where law and order is concerned, we could have been much further. Imagine the police welfare service now, the organization within that department that's supposed to look at the welfare of policemen and policewomen while serving the state. That welfare department is getting trouble to basically do their duties on behalf of their colleagues. And we're not even talking about now the everyday situation that goes into the running, the operation of a police force. Let any one of these officers, especially those who are the custodians of the storeroom area and these areas, the sensitive areas, let them open up to you and tell you the reality of their situation. I don't want to tell you, because you will say I don't know what I'm talking about. But the police storeroom, discipline, mop, pills, whatever it is to help, it's a hassle to get stuff. So when cleaners come to do their work, it's a problem. And that's how low it is. That's how low the morale is inside there. So if you have someone or some people coming to work and the working environment is not conducive to work, they are not looking forward to come to work, what do we expect in terms of the output now? So most times you make a report as a Dominican, the response you will get, we don't have vehicles. The response you will get sometimes is that everything is tied up and will come to you as soon as possible. That's a normal response. It is not that sometimes the vehicles are not there. It is sometimes I'm hearing some of these vehicles, their tires are not in order. Their braking system is not in order. The mechanical situation is not in order. And so now it is a risk to ride that vehicle to say you go in as a police officer to help protect. You want to protect yourself in the first instance. Yeah? And so that's how grim it is, people. So we have a police force that's supposed to be serving the people, have not been doing that in earnest. And it is as a result of poor or very bad management. That's it. That's it. Let me take some comments before segment number 2 comes up. Maliosi writes, Valerie and Cobbett can't do anything. Blackmore is controlling them. Ali, that is your point. You may have a point as well. Corruption, John Alfred writes, in every sector. Yes, sir. Whoa. Marian Pauli writes here, they will talk sooner than later. John Charles, Dominicans have to take a stand. And we'll get to that statement in just a while. My friend, Marian Pauli comes back and says, not only improve, it needs to be overhauled. The healthcare system needs to be free from for every citizen of Dominica. Rosa Robinson says, love to be careful yourself. We in that one-man wealth. Rosa, you may not have been listening to me for the past time we have been on. I've been on that program for some years now. And I don't want to throw cold water on your sentiment. But sentiments like that, I really don't internalize them. The country that I am from, the country where my navel string is buried, I choose to speak. I choose to act in defense of my people and my country. And so thank you for the guide. Thank you for the precaution. But there comes a point in every man's life when that fear barrier must be broken. It must be shattered, done away with. And I am in that phase now. All right, Rosa? Eddie Gordon says, I'm wondering with all this information, how come he don't turn it over to the international court if he doesn't trust the judicial system? Eddie, what are you referring to? I'm wondering with all this information, how come he, who is that he, me talking about Eddie, don't turn it over to the international court if he don't trust the judicial system? Well, you talk right, Eddie, I don't trust the judicial system, but that is your word. Thank you for listening and thank you for taking it. Chris Buguno, brother bless up indeed. Jarrell Joseph writes, how can that be? That's so sad. Lofty Dura. Grace Cindy writes, typical findings of a failed state. How is that country, how is that a country anymore? Ferdinand Lawrence writes indeed. Let me see if I can take some more comments here. Heather Feather, James says, continue praying, folks. That's all I can do from far away. Heather, we'll come to that praying aspect sometime later, all right? Because prayers, they're good. But James 2:26 says, prayer, meaning faith without works is dead. All right? It is said there as well in the opening statement. Just as a body without a spirit is dead, so too faith without works is dead. But we'll get to that when I want to drive home a couple points. Because Dominicans are very prayerful people, but they are not faithful people by and large. We'll get to that. All right, Dominicans, we are going to Mount Daniel now, where the man who calls himself your prime minister stays in a mansion, a palatial mansion, I call it. A contract was signed on the 9th of June, 2020. Yes, 2020, if memory serves me right. By the cabinet of ministers then. Reggie Austri was leading the pack. Where through a cabinet's decision, they decided to have Roosevelt Skerrit stay in a palatial mansion at Mount Daniel that they said, and he said, and keep saying, it is MMCE's property. That is Mr. Anthony Hayden's property. Of late, that is the God of Dominica, I should say, with a small g. So they have been pushing that false narrative that this property, it is the rightful owner of Anthony Hayden. We in Dominica who have been following that story for some time, we know differently. It's just a matter of time. So Roosevelt Skerrit, by their decision, and I am injecting now, most likely Roosevelt would have pressured them into making that decision, because nothing happens without his quote-unquote approval. They signed 9th of June 2020 for Roosevelt, his wife, and his 2 children, and whoever else, because they are others, to live in that palatial mansion at Mount Daniel. On record, they say, in the tune of $32,000 EC dollars. Let me get my calculator, because we have some Americans here. Politically, what better way? What refreshing day that would be. What a breath of fresh air that will be in Dominica. So folks, we have to. So this notion of 2022, not contesting an election and seeing what will, we saw what happened. We are now living through what is happening as it relates to non-contestation. We don't want to make that same mistake again. Cannot make that same mistake again. But be very sure, people, be very sure that there are confirmed moves now by this to call another election on our backs December of 2024. If it doesn't happen, then it is maybe, just maybe, the world would have been out there for some time, and so they would be feeling the pinch, or would get a sense of the pulse of the people, and so they would hold back the fire. But be ready, people. Be ready. We have a fight ahead of us, and we have to be prepared to do whatever needs to be done to help salvage what is left of this blessed rock. Finally, before we go, 5 more minutes and we're gone. I want to ask us a question, Dominicans, a very fundamental question. What or who are we afraid of in this country? Fundamental question. What are we or who are we afraid of in this country? And I am putting it to you with the limited time that I have left. There should be no one, there should be nothing we should be so afraid of to be pushed back in a corner when it comes to dealing with our country aright. Dominicans, you know the situation you are going through. Nobody can tell your story better than you. Is that life you're living now a better life than 15 years ago? Is that life a better life than 25 years ago? Let's be real. Let's talk. Let's have a conscious conversation, Dominicans. And so if your answer is yes, then you don't need to listen to me anymore, because you're part and parcel of those who get the crumbs from the table. But if your answer is no, and I know there are a lot of people at that predicament, then we can continue to have that conversation. When you go in your cupboards, when you go in your fridge, when you go around your home, are you seeing improvement there? Are you seeing development there? On your saving book, on your bank book, in your piggy banks, are you seeing that sort of improvement of livelihood there. I'm just asking you guys the soul-searching questions. And so what or who is keeping us back now from doing what needs to be done to better our situation? Who? Some Dominicans, as somebody said before, I think it's Heather said, we need to pray. Yes, Heather, thank you very much. But some of us Dominicans are like praying mantis. We pray every day, which is good. But we also need to couple that with some action as well. It was James 2:26, that good old book, that good old reference there, that said to us many years ago, and it is still true today, just as this body here, just as that body, it is no good without a soul or spirit. So too, faith, the prayers, the going down on the knees, the looking up, that is good. But after you do all that, the Lord that you pray to, He gives you the energy of speaking. He gives you the energy of acting. And so that is where He wants to see us now, to do for ourselves. So I say sometimes some of you guys' prayers, it don't pass your ceiling. It don't pass the churches that you guys attend, because those prayers are not coupled with the requisite action. So you guys, some of you guys are very faithful. Matter of fact, you are called faithful stewards. But what are you doing with that faithfulness now of yours, if you are not prepared to put it into motion? Hebrews told us, and just there I will end, the same faith that you have, the faith, whatever it is, whoever it is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence not seen. So some of you may be hoping and praying for better Dominica. Some of you may be hoping and praying for a better life where your country is concerned. Because alas, the young people, they have, every other young person you talk to in this country, they are prepared to run from this country to seek some sort of greener pasture situation. The elderlies, you guys, you worked, you toiled. Now is the time you should be enjoying the spoil. And some of you are finding it very difficult to go by. Some of you in your twilight years even have to get something to do to generate some income when you should be resting before you go meet your maker. Doesn't Dominica have a dream? Doesn't Dominica have a dream, people? Or shouldn't Dominica have a dream that once you're born Dominican, there's supposed to be the avenues to progress, to make strides? Don't you want a Dominica like that? Some of all you choose to run to America, St. Lucia, Antigua, wherever the place, St. Kitts, and live that dream and not be prepared to do what it takes to ensure that Dominica has that dream to offer. So folks, there's much more in the tank, but in terms of the limit and time, I have to shut it here tonight. But I just want to thank you guys for listening, and more so, be prepared to act, Dominicans. Nothing, absolutely nothing defeats listening without the necessary or requisite action. Nothing. Let's be prepared. I thank you guys for listening. Those of you in Dominica region, further afield. Thank you very much indeed. This is our 2 hours together each and every Saturday from 6 to 8. Tomorrow evening on the Civic Vibes program, that is another 2-hour program. There has been sort of a controversial situation, a topic in Dominica for some time. And you know Civic Vibes, we don't shy away from the controversial issues. Once these issues are discussed in a certain manner, then we will tackle them head on. So tomorrow, the first segment, we'll be having the CEO of Miridom here with us. That is Mr. Daryl Phillip. He will be coming and give us an update, as it were, especially in the wake of the recent court, the High Court ruling, where the High Court in Dominica ruled that some of the laws on our books are unconstitutional and they're supposed to be gotten rid of, where this minority group in our community is concerned. So Daryl will come tomorrow and give us that kind of information. Obviously, as I said, it is sort of a controversial issue, but we will do some dissecting there tomorrow. And after that, we will be talking some local issues. We expect to have Father Coffee in the house tomorrow, a Catholic priest. You want to hear what he has to say to us tomorrow. So Dominicans, on that note, thank you very much for your eyes and ears each and every time. As I said, be very good to yourself in the upcoming week. And please, let us try to inculcate some action with our words of praise. Thank you. Let me just have one song played in your hearing before I leave. And I think I'll be doing this one from our brother Nasio Fontaine. He said in song, the good Lord that we're speaking about, he will never forsake us. Yeah? So let's do this one from Nasio. And then after this, yours truly will be out. Do continue to enjoy the rest of your evening. All right, Brother Nasio, where are you?